Hello, students. It's nice to see you again, and welcome to the 39th episode of the online English lessons. Wow, that's so many episodes, but I'm glad you're still watching, and thank you so much for studying English and learning about new things with me. So, recently I talked with some of my students about a telescope. That was launched into outer space. And today I wanted to talk more and more about that. It's called the James Webb Space Telescope. And I want to tell you a little bit about why it's exciting, what is the story behind the telescope, and what's going to happen now that the telescope is in outer space. So let's learn a little bit about the telescope, and I hope you enjoy the lesson. Afterwards, I have some discussion questions. Some of them are connected to space, but some of them are also connected to other topics. So please look at the discussion questions, and I really hope you enjoy the discussion questions. Let's make some good answers, and let's talk about them in our next class. Today's article is called the James Webb Space Telescope, and I'm going to start reading, so please listen. On December 25th, 2021, NASA, with the help of the European Space Agency and the Canadian Space Agency, launched the James Webb Space Telescope, or JWST for short. Right now, the telescope is on a 29-day journey to reach its destination, over 1.5 million kilometers from Earth. Scientists at NASA say this telescope will usher in a new age of astronomy. Everyone is very excited about what the telescope will discover. The goal of the telescope is to discover strange new worlds, help understand the origins of the universe, and search for life on distant planets. It sounds like a science fiction story, doesn't it? But it is definitely real, and it will show humanity things that it has never seen before. Before we talk about the James Webb Space Telescope, let's talk a little bit about its predecessor, the Hubble Space Telescope. On Earth, astronomers seek out remote places like the tops of mountains or the middle of jungles or deserts to build major telescopes for the best chance at viewing a dark night sky away from light pollution from cities. But their view is still not perfect since Earth's atmosphere is blurry or hazy. So in 1990, NASA made a telescope and brought it to space. They said there is no better view of space than from space. And for 30 years, the Hubble Telescope has taught humanity many things, like the age of the universe, what happens when stars explode, and about black holes. The Hubble also gave us amazing photographs of galaxies far, far away. So, what is different about the James Webb Telescope? For starters, the James Webb Space Telescope is bigger. The Hubble is about the size of a bus. But the James Webb Space Telescope is about the size of a tennis court. The mirror, which captures the light and makes the pictures, is also 6 times bigger on the James Webb Space Telescope, which means it will be able to see much farther into space than the Hubble telescope. The farther we can see into space means the farther back in time we can see. And scientists hope that we can see what they call cosmic dawn. Stars that were created almost at the beginning of time, just after the Big Bang. The Webb telescope has been over 30 years in the making. The first plans were created even before the Hubble telescope was launched. It was originally estimated to cost $1 billion, and it would launch in 2010, However, that budget grew to $10 billion and the launch was delayed many, many times, only to finally be launched at the end of 2021. Even though the James Webb Space Telescope has successfully launched into outer space, its journey is not finished yet, and there are still many things that can go wrong. Because of the size of the telescope, it had to be folded into the spaceship for delivery. After reaching outer space, the telescope started its automatic unfolding. Think of an origami crane automatically unfolding back into a piece of paper. There are 344 stages to the unfolding process, and if one of those stages has a problem, the telescope will be lost. As I'm writing this essay, 75% of those 344 stages are completed. And over the next 2 weeks, the rest of the stages will be completed. So keep your fingers crossed. Finally, let's look at the lifespan of the James Webb Space Telescope. It's much shorter than the Hubble Telescope. The Hubble has been taking pictures of space for over 30 years, since March of 1990. But the James Webb Space Telescope only has a lifespan of 10 years, possibly shorter. The reason the Hubble has lasted so long is because of its distance from Earth. It's only 550 kilometers above Earth. That means that if there's a problem with the Hubble telescope, astronauts can go and fix it. However, the James Webb Space Telescope is 1.5 million kilometers from Earth. If there is a problem, nothing can be done. It just has to work right the first time. It will be floating in space, and to keep it close to Earth, it needs to use fuel, and it only has enough fuel to last 10 years, which is why after 10 years, it will say goodbye to Earth and float away. At the end of January this month, the Webb telescope will arrive at its destination. And for the next 5 months, it will start testing and optimizing its cameras and instruments. We still have to wait 6 months in order to see amazing images of deep space, but 2022 will be an exciting year in astronomy. Good luck to the James Webb Space Telescope. All right, that's all for the article. Let's talk about a little bit of science. So there's 2 questions I want to answer. Number 1 is, why does the James Webb Space Telescope have to be so far away? And the answer is gravity. When the telescope is close to Earth, Earth's gravity is pulling on it too much. And so there's a point in space beyond Earth where gravity is a lot less. And the gravity of Earth and the gravity of the sun are balanced perfectly. So that's where the James Webb Space Telescope is going. It's going where the gravity of Earth and the sun are perfectly balanced. This way, the James Webb Space Telescope can just stay there easily without fighting gravity. The second reason why it has to go so far away is because of the temperature. The telescope has to be very, very cold to take pictures. The reason is because the instruments, the camera, won't work if it's too hot. If it's too hot, the picture will be red. It'll be warm, and it can't take a picture of deep space. So it has to be extremely cold. It has to be so cold, I think it has to be minus 300 Celsius. minus 300도. That's crazy, right? Well, that's why it has to go so far away from Earth. It's going to go really far away from Earth. Then it has something called a kind of a like a sun shield. So it unwraps this huge metal shield so the sun doesn't touch the telescope. And then on the telescope, it has some cooling. And the cooling makes it even colder in space. Then the cameras can work very smoothly. And what else did I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about like so in the article I said the farther we can see into space means the farther back in time we can see. What this means is when we look at a star, that star is so far away, the light from that star to reach Earth, it takes years and years and years. And so when we look at a star very, very far away, we are actually looking back in time because the light from that distant star reached Earth long ago. So this means that the James Webb Space Telescope, it can see so far, it can see galaxies so far away that it's looking at the beginning of time. It's looking at the cosmic dawn, the dawn of time, just after the Big Bang. And then, hopefully, astronomers and scientists could learn some new information with that, with those pictures and that data. So it's really exciting to have a powerful camera in outer space so far away. All right, let's look at the vocabulary and then the discussion questions for today's video. So the first vocabulary, and let me show you. The first vocabulary is the word usher. Usher means to show or guide someone somewhere. In the article, it says, this telescope will usher in a new age of astronomy. It will guide scientists to a new age, a new era of astronomy. That is a really amazing and exciting quote from scientists at NASA. Next is the word predecessor. A thing that has been followed or replaced by another. So the Hubble Telescope is the predecessor to the James Webb Space Telescope. So James Webb replaced the Hubble. So the Hubble is the predecessor. The next word is hazy. A very fine cloud of something like smoke in the air. So I said in the article, Earth's atmosphere is blurry or hazy. Earth has many small particles in it. The atmosphere has many small particles in it. So a telescope can't see through very clearly. So it becomes hazy, like a smoke in the air. Next is the expression fingers crossed. So this is, of course, two words, but this expression, fingers crossed, like this, it's a saying used to hope that something goes well or has a good result. So when I talked about the stages, over the next 2 weeks, the rest of the stages will be completed. Keep your fingers crossed. So let's hope something goes well and has a good result. All right, and finally, the word optimizing. Optimizing means to make the best or most effective use of something. In the article, it says, for the next 5 months, the telescope will start testing and optimizing its cameras and instruments. At first, the camera is going to be out of focus. And so over 5 months, they will change the focus. They will test taking pictures of stars. And as time goes by, after 5 months, they will make the lens and all of the tools and the cooling completely optimized. So most effective use. So it'll be very exciting. I don't know, next summer, I guess. Yeah, next summer we'll see some really cool photos of outer space. All right, let's move on to the discussion questions. As I said before, some of these questions are about the James Webb Space Telescope, and then some of them are other topics. So, question number 1. Are you excited about what might be discovered with the James Webb Space Telescope? Are you excited about what might be discovered? Number 2, the new telescope will research other planets, black holes, and distant galaxies. Out of those 3, what are you most interested in? What are you most interested in? Other planets, black holes, or distant galaxies? All right, number 3. $10 billion was spent on this telescope project. Was that too expensive? Do you think that money should have been spent on another issue? If so, what? So what I'm asking is, what other issue do you think $10 billion should be spent on? What other issue should this money be spent on? Number 4, I have great respect for astronomers and the space agency scientists. What are some jobs and professions that you have great respect for? What are some jobs or professions that you have great respect for? Tell me who you respect in society. Tell me the job that you really, really respect a lot, and explain why you respect those people. And number 5, space and science is one of my favorite subjects. What were your favorite subjects in school? What subjects are you interested in these days? What were your favorite subjects in school, and what subjects are you interested in these days? All right, those are all for the discussion questions. I'm really looking forward to your answers. And this video was a little long because I was very excited about the James Webb Space Telescope. I watched the launch live on December 26th, and it was really incredible. Watching the scientists and astronomers get excited for the successful launch was just really amazing to watch. And I really recommend everyone go on Google and type in James Webb Space Telescope and look at pictures of the telescope, because the pictures and the science on the telescope, the mirror, the lens, the shield, it looks really interesting, and I think you'll like it. All right, everyone, that's all for today's lesson. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to your answers. Bye.